So what I'm going to do, introduce my model first. This is Johnny. And Johnny, as you can see, has got really long layers, but it's nice and short around the sides and back. And that's quite popular at the moment. And what's this called is a disconnection. So how I'm going to cut this, I'm going to bring these layers up, keep them really square so we keep the disconnection, but to keep the weight, if I spin you around, Johnny, but to keep the weight, what I want to do is I'm going to take a number one really lightly round the perimeter and then blend that all up. And then I'm going to blow dry them up straight back using the Burban range. And if we've got time, because I've only got half an hour, I'm going to try and get all his beard all lined up and trimmed up today.
Brilliant, thanks Mike. Right, Lee.
Right guys, so this is my model Steve, and what we're going to do today, we're just going to do a soft skin fade, slight disconnection and a blunt crop. We're just going to focus loads on the texture on the top, and we're going to show you a few different techniques how to achieve that.
Brilliant. So guys, as you can see, two barbers working two completely different haircuts. You're going to see two completely different finishes here. So, introducing ourselves, we are the GBBA. We offer the education for salon services through their barbering courses. So anything you would want related barbershop, come and have a word with us. Stick your hand up. I'll come and have a chat with you today if you want. Anything barber-wise, that's what we do. So we offer all the different courses for salon services. So we do a shave day. So if you want to learn the traditional art of shaving, that's something that we can teach you. We do the advanced cutting course, which we call the fades and blades. So again, it's all working the short, sharp haircuts like Lee's doing here. And then we do an intro to barbering. So you guys that have never picked up a pair of scissors before, never done any barbershop work at all, we can work with you. We can introduce you to the barbershop skills and give you a little taste of what it's like. So the GBBA are up and down the country. We have about 15 educators, Mike, something like that?
I think we're up to 18 educators now, Gareth.
18 educators covering the country, so don't think we can't get to you, because we can, and we will.
Even if you're real down the southwest. We've even done a course this year in a little island just off Penzance.
The Isles of Scilly.
Yep. The Scilly Isles. But no, we've been all over from the north of Scotland to, like I say, the Scilly Isles this year, delivering 100 barbering courses. Well, just over 100. And as you can see now with my model, what I'm doing is I'm cutting into the way it grows. So when you're using clippers, make sure you cut into the way it grows. And then just gently flicking out at the ends. So then that helps me with my blend. I'm one of these barbers, I don't like putting massive lines in. I don't see the point in putting a line in when you've got to take it out. Yeah? Like, why make your job harder? To me, we're tradespeople, we need to knock on. And like I said, I've only got half an hour on stage here, and I will blow dry this and talk through it, and hopefully get the beard done as well. And if I was putting lines in, I wouldn't be able to do all of that in half an hour.
So that's quite an interesting point Mike's there. So the current trend at the moment is all about putting that line in a haircut. I personally don't do it either. It's just the way I was taught all those many moons ago. A long time, Lee. Never put a line in, because you've always got a battle to get that line back out. So that's something that we don't teach with the GBBA. So as you can see, we've got Mike doing his clipper work there. And we've also got Lee doing a bit of clipper work. So Lee's clipper work is looking a bit more harsh. So Lee, talk us through your clipper work.
Okay, so what I do, when I fade, I put my zero line in, then I deal everything below the zero after. So that means my T-liners.
So you're kind of doing what Mike said he doesn't do?
Yeah, pretty much. But I find getting a zero line out is a lot easier than getting a T-liner line out.
Yeah, so if I do go down that route myself, I do exactly what Lee's doing there. So when you're flicking that first line, it's flicked and it's not got a harsh line. So when you'll see these other guys, you'll probably see it hundreds of times this weekend, people putting lines into the haircuts, then struggling to get those lines out. The way we teach, we don't teach that. We soften the line, then work the line out. So I'm guessing, Lee, when you work that line out, you'll be skipping through the clipper grades.
Yeah, so what I'll do then, I'll go a couple of grades higher and then just fade down into that line.
And that's another one that you've probably heard out there on the internet, on YouTube videos, guard clipping. And that is exactly what Lee's going to be doing here today. So you're going to see that up close. Guard skipping.
Guard skipping, yeah. But like I see here, with clipper over comb, it just takes so much time out of your work, and the clipper makes the hair look that much sharper to me. And if you see, I've near on got round the whole perimeter already, but I'm bringing my comb in, coming out at a 45-degree angle, and then just taking that off nice and slowly and nice and controlled. So I know what I'm cutting. There's no risk of me going in too deep. Yeah, everything about my barbering is all very much controlled. So you see it, you know what you're doing, and you get to the end result. None of this is showboating. So I'm coming in, like you see, nice and short, coming in 45-degree angle like that, and then cut into the way it grows. And straight away there, as you can see, it blends out. Just one stroke. I don't need to go over it 28 times, just once and done properly.
I find clipper over comb is probably the biggest technique that we use in our barbershop. So again, that's one of the techniques that we will teach you on one of these GBBA courses available at Salon Services.
And to me, clipper over comb is such a great technique, because once you've got it, it saves your hands and it saves you a lot of time. Don't get me wrong, I'm a real believer in scissor over comb, but it depends on what type of hair and what length. If you're going for fades and number ones, it's so much easier and more efficient to do the clipper over comb. And again, people that want that type of haircut want a short, sharp look. They don't want the soft look that scissors would achieve.
So, Mike, do you find clipper over comb is more bulk removal?
Yeah, definitely, but it's having the right tools for the job again. Like, to me, these are standard clippers. These are for bulk removal. You shouldn't be doing clipper over comb with trimmers. You'll just ruin your trimmers. Yeah, so this is the robust job of these clippers. But if you see, as I go down, I'll be starting to use the trimmers to taper the haircut out.
Yeah, that's another valid point there. One of the points that I'll kind of hammer home for you guys as well, use the tool for what it's designed for. Trimmers are used for going around the edges and detailing the outline, making that outline sharper. And they're not used for blending in. The teeth are too fine. When you use those fine teeth, trying to push a bulk of hair through it, you're going to end up ruining those clippers, and you're probably going to ditch them within a few months. They're not cheap, so use them for what they're designed for. Lee, how are we doing?
Yeah, good. We're making good progress. So I'm on my 1.5 now. I started off with a 2 just to get that second line up. I'm just working down to 1.5 to 1 to 0.5. Then I'll just flip between the lines, just trying to rub out that little shadows.
As you can see on the big screen there, that line that Lee had put in is now disappeared. And he's probably, I reckon he's on a number half grade there.
1.
A 1 grade, so he's started to step downwards. He's gradually taking it down. So those clipper grades, nice to see that Lee's using those magnetic ones, because they don't come off at all, do they?
Really good.
Who's ever used a pair of clippers and that plastic grade just pings off across the room, and the next thing you know, you're doing a bold fade without even asking for one?
I definitely have.
Invest. There you go. I think we've all done it. Invest in the tool properly. Get a good tool, because if you're going to go professional about this, you've got to look professional. So, Mike's moving on quick over here. We're doing a bit of scissor work.
Yeah, I mean, back when I left school, I always wanted to be a barber. But many moons ago, when I left school, there was no barbering qualification whatsoever. So I had to learn to be a hairdresser first. And I think that's put me in good stead, because my sections are always clean, and I always teach good sections and foundations. And I like to use proper tools, like how to use the comb. So if you can see, with me, what we do in hairdressing and barbering, it's just art, yeah? You could start from the back, you could start from the front, you could start from the crown. I prefer to start with the crown, with guys' hair, because I want to know how it's going to lie. So if I can take that first section and it's right, then the rest of the cut comes into it. If I take too much off the front, then I find you'll get too much off the crown. That's why I start at the crown and work my way forward. But what I'm doing, like I said before, I'm going to do a square layered cut here, which is very masculine, but the client wants to keep the length, so I'm just taking off the ends and just tidying it up a little bit for him as he has a wedding today. So I'm not going to make a drastic change to this, but I'm going to keep all these layers nice and square so they come and sit disconnected.
So there we go, working with the head shape a bit, creating those square layers through, Mike, yeah?
Yeah, I know we're going to have a lot of weight here, but the way it's going to be blow dried, it's just all going to come back and sit. And if I didn't work with the square layers, I'd take all of that weight out,
So
which I don't want to achieve.
I'm kind of guessing where you're getting those square layers through the top, we're going to have a bit of a disconnection through the side slightly as well.
Slightly, yeah, a big disconnection with these square layers. But with squares, like we do work in squares in barbering, so when you're cutting, you should be thinking of a square. You should be thinking of a 90-degree angle, yeah? So if you are just doing a normal shape, don't be pulled into trying to do flat tops on everyone because you have too much weight around the sides. But if it is a disconnection like this, you can do all of the square layers.
I'm guessing, Lee, you're going to be coming to that top area very soon.
I will, yeah.
And then,
So what I'm going to do now, I'm just going to clip over comb this slight blend. I still want to keep it disconnected, but I want to just soften it up and take it a little bit tighter.
so your disconnection is almost going to be more of a box to the
Yes.
sides of it.
Exactly,
So-
yeah.
Taking in the flat top rule slightly.
Yes, yeah, exactly.
So flat tops, part of the national standard still. Probably most barbers don't like doing them. I love them. Nice bit of freehand work working on the flat top. Really test the eye, test your ability of what you're doing on that haircut.
Haircuts in hairdressing and barbering is uniform layers and the flat top. And if you can master them, to me, you're one hell of an artist. That is the two haircuts when all my students start on head blocks, when they start from nothing. And that's the two haircuts they get to that I'm going to say, this is the hard one. This is the one to really think about it and take your time with.
Just recently, I went out for the GBBA to a college local to me, and we did the Intro to Barbering course. So we had people on this Intro to Barbering course that had never picked a pair of scissors up before. And it was the challenge to get these guys to do uniform layers. They smashed it, absolutely smashed it. And then right at the end of the day, when we did the flat top with them, you could see them all there going, oh my God, we've got to do this flat top, oh my God. But after a quick demonstration and a little bit of work with them, again, they're just smashing it. It's just following the lines of what we're doing, and it's a great little course, that Intro to Barbering.
I don't know who's out here in the crowd that's already barbers, or you're interested in barbering, or you've got trainee barbers. But what I've done is a few years ago I wrote a barbering book, which I measured it up to the MVQ national standards, and it went down so well that we wrote volume 2, because to me a lot of barbershops was buying this book and just using it as their guide. So in the volume 2 I went on about insurance, alcohol in the barbershop, employment law. So Gareth's going to quickly show you my new book, which will be available in Salon Services soon, very soon.
So there you go, guys, exclusive for you, Mike Taylor's second education book. If you haven't got one, get one. Simple as that. I don't need to sell this book, it sells itself. It has everything in there, right from the day you start to the day you keep continuing. We teach our apprentices with this book. There's no reason not to. It's got every single thing in this book you need, barbershop-wise. Congratulations, Mike. This book is amazing. Oh, there's a couple of good pictures in there as well, like me. So it's got to be worth buying it.
You always
because
have
I'm
to
in
appear
it.
in it, don't you?
So one of the reasons we're on the stage here today is we're promoting the Salon Services Burban products as well. So Burban is the men's range that Salon Services are doing, and it does the full range, right from washing your hair, shaving, all the preparation of your skin, moisturisers, down to styling products as well. So this Burban range is a good range of products. You should be buying it. If you've not got it in your salons, get it, because it is highly recommended by us. Right, Lee.
So what I'm doing now is I'm trying to get quite a bit of texture in it. I don't want to remove too much length. So what I'm doing, I'm just point cutting the ends. Then after that, I'm going to go through it and use the thinning razor and get a little bit of length.
So it's all about a bit of movement in that top.
Exactly, yeah.
So you can see there the point cutting technique going into the top of the hair there. So he's not really removing length of the hair, it's just adding texture. And Mike's doing something completely different over there.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to keep these layers long, but what I'm thinking of, let's have a decent question from the audience and give away one of my books.
Yeah,
I'm
guys.
feeling super generous.
There we go. Who would like a Mike Taylor book? You've got to ask a question though. I can't just give it you. Anybody got a question?
It's not even in the stores yet.
We're giving this one away, Mike.
Yeah, give that one away.
Oh, guys. Hot off the press. Who would like a Mike Taylor education book? If you've got a question for us, even for one of the guys, any question's a good question, so don't feel it's not a daft question. Stick your hand up. I'll ask it to them if you want, if you're too scared to speak to them. They are quite scary, these two, aren't they? Would you like one? Got to ask a question. Oh, the book's out of my hand. Would it come back? So Lee's now cross-checking his haircut and still adding more texture into it, so still point cutting in. Looking forward to seeing him using his feather razor on it. Any questions from the crowd? You can even ask me to shut up if you want. Any questions down here, boys? No. Barbershop related, yeah?
So if you want to, let's talk about booking our courses. You can book our courses online at www.salonservices.com. We do a shaving course, we do a traditional barbering course, we do a course that's very popular at the moment called Fades and Blades. We do a clipper and beard confidence course, and we do the intro course we're talking about, where we teach you flat tops on head blocks, which you don't have to have any experience whatsoever to come on.
So again, guys, those courses, if you're interested in them, I'm walking around with these books today as well. In these books are all the courses. It gives you a brief detail of what the course is as well. If you'd like one, again, put your hand up. I'll hand one to you now. You can have a quick look through it. And it shows you where you can book online as well. There you go. Anybody else?
Where's my clock, Gareth?
Sorry?
Where's my clock?
Where's your clock?
Yeah, I want to know how much time I've got. Come on, count me in. Give me, every time I use 5 minutes, I need to know.
9 minutes, Mikey.
You're joking. Right.
Too much talking, Mike.
I'll just rattle on. Now you're going to see how a barber would work in a busy shop on a Saturday.
Head down.
Head down, yes, totally. So what I'm going to use now are these brilliant T-liners and do the hairline. See, to me, the hairline is really, really important, and that's where people go wrong in barbering and hairdressing. To me, it's like you wouldn't have £1 million painting and put a rubbish frame on it, yeah? So this is what frames the cut, and this is what everyone's going to see. This is your business card. So when you're doing lining out, you always just look for the natural line and then go with it. Don't go into it. No one wants triangles in the back of the head. And just go straight down like that. So you get a real nice, sharp line to bring out your haircut. And when I was first taught barbering, I used to work in this old-fashioned barber shop that was, half of it was a fishing tackle shop as well. So on a Saturday, people would come in for their maggots. But then I was taught to, every customer, you had to say to them, how would you like your hair? Squared or tapered? And a lot of the time, these guys, they just didn't want to talk. And they'd just say squared because they were familiar with the word squared. And to me now, I don't ask that anymore. I just taper everything And if someone wants it squared, then I'll put a squared line in afterwards. So people's got to think about, where did all this, we've got no square shapes on our body. Yeah, you shouldn't really be doing square lines at all. So where did it come from? Where it come from? In the 60s when men grew their hair, businessmen weren't allowed to grow their hair, so they had it collar length and they had it square. And there was a film called The Boston Strangler, and the guy in it had a square neck, and that's why people call it Bostons. And it's come from the 60s, and we're not in the 60s anymore. So guys really should be having a taper for the reason of it looks so much better and it grows out so much better.
Right, guys, we've got a question. So we're going to be giving that book away. The question is, how much use do you have with your thinning shears or texturizing shears? Lee, do you want to answer that first?
I have quite a bit of use. A lot of hairstyles these days want a lot of texture, and a lot of people ask for their hair to be thinned out, so I do use it on quite a lot of customers. But I prefer to use the razor towards the scissors, definitely.
So texturizing razor over a pair of thinning shears?
Personally, yeah.
What about when you're using it? How far down the hair are you using those texturizing shears?
All depends really. It's normally from halfway up the hair onwards, or if I just want to get a little bit of texture, I'll just flick the ends.
I think one of the mistakes people make with a thinning shear is they go right to the root of the hair and thin it out. That's when you get the problem with the hair, and then it just makes the hair all stand up. So start at the tips of the hair and just taking the texture out of it. Does that answer your question? Shall I get Mike as well? Mikey?
Yep.
Thinning shears?
Right, who's asked the question?
We're going to get a long one now.
Who's asked the question? Are you hairdressers and barbers? Do you work in a salon? Yeah. Have you had a 4-year-old blonde kid that won't keep still? Yeah, you use thinning scissors like me then. They're a great tool. We're all tradesmen. I hate this snobbery that's come out. I mean, I've been a barber for 28 years. I go to work to pay my mortgage, and I sort of say to people, you wouldn't have a kitchen fitter going, why are you using that tool to make your life easier? You know, that's not what I've seen on YouTube. So thinning scissors is a tool, use them. I mean, they're a great tool, but like Gareth said, he's completely right. Don't overuse them, don't use them at the root. But when you, and sometimes taking weight lines out, but when you've got a kid that's moving like this, you're like, give me the thinners, there you go, bit of gel. So if you're a real tradesperson, you use them because they're a tool. That's what I think. Sorry, I'll get on with it.
Right, Mike, there's only 5 minutes. Well, probably 4 now.
I'm going to have to say sorry to Johnny. He's not getting a beard trim, but I'll do it out the back. Is that all right? Verbal diarrhea here.
Right, guys, so we're going to reintroduce ourselves. We are the Great British Barbering Academy. We have the contract with Salon Services to offer barber education. We offer this up and down the country in all of the different salon services, and you can book online with Salon Services through their website. It's a simple system, just click on, it's a drop-down system, and you can then look for your location, and on that location it shows the courses that are available. Really, really simple, because I'm really, really simple as well, so it makes it easy. So we're getting to the finishing stages here. As you can see, we've got quite a classic look going on with Mike over there, and Lee has produced something very up-to-date, quite urban. Liking those fangs around the front there, Lee. Halloween.
So what I've done here is just, because I wanted to keep a real natural textured look, I've used a matte paste from the Burban range, and it just gives a really nice light finish. Nothing too heavy, because this is the sort of style, and because it's got quite light hair, I don't want to swamp it down with anything like a heavy wax or gel or anything like that. So I just want to keep it really natural.
So that's a great recommendation there. So the Burban, where's the lid?
Just there.
So the Burban matte paste, completely matte. You can see it on the hair there. It doesn't look like there's product in the hair. That's kind of the look at the moment. So the matte paste, the matte clays, etc., stuff like that. Powders are very, very popular at the moment, but it's good to see that an ordinary product here from Burban, available over here, I think. Come on, everybody go and buy one. Oh, look at that. It's buy one, get one free. Got to be done today, guys. You've got to get it. You can see the product in use here. And even Mike's got a bit of... If you put some matte paste into that and dried it in there, Mike.
No, what I've done is I've used the tonic. You know me, I'm a big believer in hair tonic. So I haven't gone with a whole because there's a bit of stuff from last night still in there, which gives it the grip I need. But with this, we'll just give it a bit of shine. So I always like to use a bit of tonic, and it stimulates the scalp and it takes away any fluffiness. So I'm just using this because I like this nice and natural to get blow dried into place. But then, like Lee, I really like the matte paste as well. So I'm going to finish with the matte paste for a nice natural look. But what else I'd like to say about men's hair, which I don't feel still happens enough, is to make sure you blow dry it. Like with hair like this, it needs blow drying to exactly see how it's going to sit and how the cut's going to look.
Right, guys, I'm going to rush you along now. We are in the last minute now, so let's look at what we've done. Let's look at what we're doing.
And when I blow dry it, if you see, I always, from the root, make sure you do it properly so it will last.
Right, so Mike's just finishing there. Lee's finished.
Ahead of schedule.
There you go, bang on schedule, Bar.
Bang on.
Lee. You'll work well at my barber shop.
I will.
Mike talks too much.
Oh, that's what it is.
So let's just have a quick recap of what you've done there, Lee.
Again, so what
Spin the model around so the guys can see it.
I've done quite a high skin fade, and I faded it out, put my baseline in as a 0, then jumping down the grades. I find that's just the most effective and quickest way of fading for me. It works for me, maybe it doesn't for everyone, but it does for me. Now I've just focused a lot on the texture on the top, trying to get a bit of movement, but I quite like the length, so I didn't remove too much length. Then I just blended the fringe and just played around with the fringe a little bit, just to make it look a little bit more better. Then I styled it with a matte paste from the Burban range.
So there you go, guys. Let's give Lee a round of applause. That's a great little haircut there.
And to keep the crowd happy, here they are.
There you go. Pair of texturizer scissors.
So just at the back here, where I've got that little bit of bulk, I'm just going to come in just very gently, just so it smooths right down into a lovely, nice, bulky blend. So you've got a nice classic wedge there. So again, I've used the thinning scissors for this, and basically, again, just to help me and to save time.
So
if I've been used correctly, these are such a brilliant tool.
So we got Mike just finishing off there. So I'm just going to recap. We are literally in the last few seconds of what we've done for you today. Thank you for watching us. It's been a pleasure. I like talking, so it's my job. I quite enjoy this part of it. We are the GBBA. We work with Salon Services. I want to say thank you for spending your morning with us. I want to say thank you to Mike and Lee for producing great work this morning. And thank you for Salon Service for having us.